Hello there and welcome to ADcraft. I've spent more than a year building a huge steampunk city in Minecraft Survival. Last episode we built the mother of all airships and created an epic amethystine cave connecting up the base. Today we have by far the biggest terraforming project yet and a massive steampunk bridge to expand to the new area. All this plus a new contraption for the hardest wood to farm in the game. So settle in and relax as we head into AD's adventure. But first of all, now that I've connected up the under mountain section through the amethystine cave out here, I need to make sure that I've got space so that I can connect up this road. Now I am going to be using this mountain later, so I don't want to do anything with this, but I am going to have the road going off this way and connecting round, and I do want to have the road going off this way as well. As you can see, there's a big cliff in the way full of sand and sandstone, so I need to get that moved. I also want to build out this section of the stone area so that I can have a set of stairs going up to the top of this plateau just to give another route down. So I'll need to get myself some resources in order to do that, and I think the best way to do all of this is going to be in the form of a short time lapse. With a little bit of decoration, this is now complete and I'm super pleased with how this has turned out. The side of this cliff did look a little bit featureless before, but now it's given that element of detail with just some little touches. Just really pleased with how that works, and if we head up, it links up to the other walkways that I'd built through the cliff itself and brings us out by the absolute legend that is Technoblade surveying the things beneath. But now I have a bit of a problem to solve. I've been using a lot of the new wood, particularly the mangrove wood, and I haven't got a very good way to farm it. I got a whole bunch of it when I first went over to the mangrove swamp, and I really don't want to go back over there. So I need to build myself a farm. And the first step that I'm going to need to take is to remove my existing propagule farm and build one that is more efficient so that I can get enough propagules to actually support the farm that I'm going to be building. And this is going to be a design by Ilmango, but first of all, to clear this out. And now that space is nicely cleared out with all of the resources collected up in here, I can start building the farm itself. And what a design it is. I have just used a couple of pipes to make this look a bit more industrial, but actually I don't think it really needs any more decoration than this. But if we come up here and turn it on, as we go like this, that it is ridiculously fast. So this is more propagules than I could ever need. It gives something like 4 or 5 a second, and it's crazy. Before I got that far though, I did what any good Minecrafter does and gets completely distracted by getting a whole bunch more of the other wood types. Oh dear. And the mangrove farm is complete and I'm really pleased with it. As you can see, I've been doing some testing and it is now working. It is quite a complicated machine, but it is a fantastic tutorial and there is a world download as well. So in the end, I ended up using a Litematica schematic to make sure I'd put everything in the right place. And that definitely helped. Check out the tutorial, obviously I'll pop that in the description. But if I go over here and show you how this works, we come down the bottom here, we head up, and there's 2 ways up because I've just built some little stairs up. We come back down this way, we stand here, and then we just hold down with the click button, and each time that grows we get given a new propagule as well. It does use quite a lot of bone meal and is more industrial than most of the farms that I would build, but it does mean that I don't need to run it for very long to get absolutely loads and loads of wood. And as you can see from the chests, just from running it for a very short period of time, that has given us about 8-9 stacks of the mangrove wood, which is absolutely brilliant. The benefit from the hours and hours that I spent doing that, though, is every single one of these chests in my storage system for all of the different wood types is now absolutely full. So I've got all of the woods that I will need for a very, very long time. But now I need to get some resources together, because over here where we built this road earlier, there is an awful lot more terraforming to go. So I'm going to be adding a huge mesa, and this plateau that is going to be similar in style to this, at least, is going to be significantly bigger. In fact, there is more terraforming in this particular project than everything that I've done in the series so far. So I do need to go and collect the masses and masses of resources that I have dug out, get them all ready, and then I can start building. And a little while later, alongside adding this beacon in, I've now created a shulker monster for the first phase of this build. Now I'm going to have to break this down into a couple of phases through this episode, just because the sheer amount of building that I've got to get done. So at the moment, as it stands, we've got all of these regular coloured shulker boxes full of terracotta. We've got all of the orange terracotta, bunch of brown, and then some of the other colours as well, and just some bits and bobs down here that I'll probably need for filling in holes and such. So the only thing left to do is to kick off a time lapse for the first phase. And phase 1 of the Mega Terraforming Project is now complete, and this is by far the smallest phase. So I've created a nice double height plateau that's built into the terrain around here. There's some gaps, but those will be filled in a bit later. And we've got this one over here in this big empty area that is also just kind of tying the two sections together, so it doesn't just stop at the edge of that biome. But one of the things that I've noticed is that although I've got all of the different effects at the moment, I'm not going to have those when I start building out. So I need to get myself some more beacons. I've got a beacon under here. I've got space for a beacon under here. And although I've got plenty of beacons themselves, the items that I need to actually build the beacons, I've been using an awful lot of iron, and I'll probably be needing the iron for other things later on in the series. So I want to switch away from using iron. And the best way to do that is to use my gold farm in the Nether. And this thing is absolutely fantastic. I haven't been using it in a while, and I've spent a lot of the gold either on trading with the piglins or selling to the clerics to get things like redstone. So now I need to head up and do a fair bit of AFKing. And having been AFK up here for just over a few hours, there is quite a lot of gold waiting for me at the bottom. I've already managed to craft the vast majority of it into blocks. So this has given me all of the blocks that I'm going to need for all of the beacons around the new area. Time to take this back to the zone, and then it's time to get building again. And I've used all of that gold now to put in place all of these beacons. So I've got a beacon here. I've got another one over here. All of these will be hidden at some point, the other one being right the way over here. So as you can see from the distance just between this one and the other one over there, you can see it's going to be quite a big build, and it's also going to go all the way out over the sea here as well. So yes, this is going to be absolutely huge, and I have brought out, because of that, a whole bunch more resources and refilled some of these boxes with some more stuff that I'm going to be needing, because there is a lot. So now it's time for an absolutely mega time lapse. And after so many hours of building, I am finally done. And this really did take a huge amount of time. As you can see, the phase 1 bits that I did were just tiny in comparison to this. And in fact, between all of the sections that I've built so far, I checked my previous world download, and across the 5 different terracotta types that are in this particular build, I have placed well over 30,000 blocks. So that isn't bad going, is it really? So yeah, super pleased with how this has gone. So down here I wanted to connect it to the water, just because I had the idea of creating this kind of tunnel underneath. I'm thinking of maybe having some buildings that are going along here connecting to the sea, because this section is, as we see the crane over there, I want to extend the dock out a little bit more. I've got a fantastic idea for a build inspired by our original starter house that I am gonna build over here. So yeah, I wanted to make the space for that and potentially give a viewing area for this. I've tried to kind of keep things flattish so it'll be easier to build on, but not so flat. As you can see, we've got different layers going on here. If we head up, we can see right the way from the top that actually we've got some great transitions. We're going to have the road going round here. Probably there's going to be another building and then the road going that side to connect up to the dock. So we'll have 2 exits from the dock on this side and 1 on the far side there in front of our boatyard. And then yeah, lots and lots of builds, loads of room for me to expand into now that we've got the super mega airship here, and of course this plateau as well. And this plateau itself is going to be connected up to the main build by a giant bridge that I'm going to be building a little bit later on, that comes from probably about here to just about over there. Why do I put myself through these things? Well, I mean, the simple reason for that is it's going to look absolutely epic. The other thing that I really love that looks epic here is this cave stroke tunnel, I think, that goes through. So once I've kind of put things inside this, it's going to go brilliantly. But I love the way that this just opens up and you start to, as you come through, see some of the builds that we've already got in that area over in the existing portion. And just as you come around, you can see right the way through to the airship dock and the funicular railway, all of the pipes. Just, yeah, I love some of the views that you're going to get from here. And of course, when you've got this huge bridge with massive great arches going underneath as well, that is gonna look amazing. So yeah, that's gonna be the next thing to do. But before I get round to that, over here at the chicken powered Skulk farm, where I am using this quite a lot in between episodes and just in general, because it's really fun and because I love watching the Skulk spread. But I'm just not happy with how this is decorated. So I am going to be doing a big bit of decorating. So if I stand here and if I turn rapidly like this, and the decoration is now complete, and I'm really pleased with how this has turned out. It did take quite a lot of fiddling to make sure that everything was working correctly. But if we come through here, we've obviously got some nice decoration on the walls, and this links through up to our sugarcane farm and cactus farm up there as well. And when we come through underneath here, this is the access to make sure that I can harvest all of the Skulk. So the Skulk gets pushed along in this pipe underneath. Once it gets to the end, it gets pushed across and pushed up and then pushed out. And there's an access up there as well, so I can get to either the bottom and mine it or the top if I prefer. We also have some further decoration. If I come up here, we've got some decoration up here on top of this section, and then up onto the roof where there's just a load of barrels. And I've connected this up with some little walkways. So this comes through from the outside here. We can come straight in and we can either go across the top or we can go down to the sides. So I've added some little touches like a little bit of damp getting through, some of the slime leaking out and kind of infecting the walls and just being carried on through there. There were lots of big open spaces, so I've tried to use some of these chain designs with the lights, which adds extra lighting to the room and also looks really cool. The other thing that I've done with this is to change the tunnel as well. So this was just a basic tunnel. I've made it taller. I've used some Skulk in the designs and I have also made it so we've got this glass walkway through. And one of the things that I really liked, you can see the underside of the bridge, but you can see through to this little airship as well, which is cool. And then if you look this way, you can actually see through to the crane. So this is quite a little cool walkway that comes through, brings us all the way through into exactly the same place in the base, and that can just be closed off. But now on to the next thing, which will be collecting all of the resources, because as mentioned earlier, I have a giant bridge to build. Back over between the cliffs, I have got all of the resources ready to go and filled my inventory with various different things that I'm going to need. And now it's time for the final time lapse of the episode. And as we come up through this doorway, we will see the bridge is now complete. And I absolutely love how this has turned out. I've put in a gradient going through from some sandstone through to some of the mud bricks, just to give it a bit more visual interest. And that means that with the tones, it actually blends into the surroundings quite well. But at the same time, it's still highly visible with this polished deep slate in here as well. The other thing that I absolutely love about this is if we come up here, that you can see it's on an angle. So I've built the entire thing on an angle. Nothing too severe, but enough that when you look at it down here, it looks really, really good. It gives that element of straightness, and you can see the car with one of the straw statues in place. Which reminds me, if you are interested in becoming a straw statue in the episode, please do let me know in the comments and pop along to the Discord so I can take your username and we will get you into the next episode. But there is one more thing now that's left to do, and that is to map out the area. So as you can see, I've added an in-progress shot to the next set of maps here. So this was the last episode after we built the mega airship, and now this is the Mesa expansion that we've done. But I need to now fill in this bigger one that will cover the whole base for the finished result for this episode. So now I need to take my maps out and start getting those updated. And now that that update has been done, I can see all of the progress from this episode, which is basically everything in this area. So a huge amount, over 40,000 blocks have been placed in this episode alone, and that's not even including the farm or the decorations. And if you have enjoyed the episode and want to see more, make sure to check out these videos from the channel that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy.